Welcome back to One Piece Anime Re-Review Part 2. This one discussing the third arc of the anime, Syrup Village. Now here's the thing about this particular arc. Yes, it's first appearance of some characters, but here's the thing. The first chapter officially to start off this arc, chapter 22, was adapted for the very end. Yeah, they did pretty much the same thing they did for Romance Dawn, where they took the first chapter and they put it at the end of the arc. I don't. I guess the reason why because they want to bring in like the ship the thing that makes debut in this arc. This arc basically has debut of Usopp, though he technically did make a cameo at the end of episode 8. We had a debut of him, Kuro, Django, Kaya, the Usopp Pirates, Mary, Kaya's little butler, and there is one other character that makes his debut in this one, and that's Usopp's mother, who, like Usopp, has got a long nose. I don't know who voices her, but Usopp is voiced by the awesome Sonny Sarai. Yeah, this is the arc, this is debut appearance. And the arc starts off like this. It's on Syrup Island. Usopp is simply just doing his usual thing like, oh yeah, pirates are coming, pirates are coming. Yeah, he's doing the whole boy who cried wolf thing. And apparently he's doing this every day for years, just to get people riled up. And for some people, it's like their normal exercise when it comes to doing this. Get the broomsticks out, try to chase the pirates. Even turns to a big lie. He's able to run away pretty quickly. He's a very fast runner. Oh, in case you're wondering by his attire, just wears a pair of overalls, shoes, and a hat. Usopp, as far as I can tell, with the exception of filler episodes, never wears a shirt. Unknown why he never wears a shirt, he just doesn't. Yeah, I mean, look at, let's say, Luffy and Zoro, at least they bother to wear a shirt. Not in the case of Usopp. Nope. If it's a filler episode, he'll wear a shirt. If it's a canon, he's always shirtless a lot. He will occasionally cover up if it's cold or if it's like he wear like desert a different attire. Mostly put this overall attire he wears. This is his normal standard attire he would wear throughout the first half, throughout pretty much almost the entirety of part 1. He has a weapon, unlike Zoro who uses swords, or Nami uses a baton. Usopp uses a slingshot. Yep, a slingshot. He's actually very good at that. And when Luffy, Nami, and Zoro have the island, basically they're there to get a ship. Yep, that's the only reason why they ride at the island, just to get a ship. Because they need a better ship than using their two little ships. Oh, and by the way, the two little ships they have, as far as I can tell, they never appear again in the series. Nope, they just basically drop them off the island and they stay there. Though Nami gets back her treasure. Well, Nami has treasure on board her ship. Though the treasure does still appear. Not in the case of these little ships. Nope, they just stop appearing. Luffy's had his little ship since the pilot episode. Nami's had her ship that she's had since like episode 4. And by episode 9, no more. They never use these ships ever again. Because they're replaced with the ever awesome The Going Merry, which makes its debut in episode 17, but that comes later. They get to the island, of course, they're hit by a slingshot ball, and Luffy notices exactly who he is right away. You're Usopp. He's like, yeah. I know your dad. Yep. Of course, the thing is, Yasopp, that's how you pronounce it, despite the fact his name is basically spelled like Usopp, except with a Y instead of U. And he knows all about Usopp due to his father constantly bragging about him a lot. And the thing is, Usopp's father doesn't look much like him. One thing, he gets a long nose with his mother, but physically he looks almost exactly like his father, with the exception of his hair color. I think it's the hair from his mother and the nose, but most everything else comes from his father. And of course, he explains later how he knew his father. The fact his father was a very good, was actually the best shot in Shanks' crew. And of course, Usopp doesn't immediately join the crew at this point, but he will definitely. So they need to find a ship, and then they ask about what about the mansion we saw on the island. They're like, don't go there. They go there anyways. Usopp is there to tell his usual lies. Yep, and here's the thing. Kaya, who was voiced by Carrie Savage. Yep. A woman I've seen actually a few series like this one. She was actually in the series Triple X Talk voicing Mokina. Yep. And the thing is, Carrie Savage, whenever she gives a voice to a character, she sounds like a little girl. I don't know why Carrie Savage does this for, but she does. I mean, you look at Kaya, for example. Kaya is a teenager, and yet she sounds like a little girl. I thought that was kind of awkward for her to sound that way, but that's the way Carrie Savage voices her. I get Mokina voicing that way because he's a creature, but but Kaya, a woman who's probably in her 20s? Yeah. Oh, and Kairu and her butler shows up, and he doesn't like Usopp. I mean, the villagers don't have a really big problem with him aside from his lies. The butler just despises him. Why? Because his father is a pirate. Yeah, though it's later he actually himself is a pirate. Yep, and at the end of the first episode, we used to Django. Yep, Django. A guy who walks like frickin' Michael Jackson. He walks backwards. Yes. The thing about this character is, as far as I heard, he is based upon Michael Jackson. Not appearance-wise, but basically how he walks and how he moves. And he's also a hypnotist. By the way, he doesn't like refer to as a weird guy. Almost like any time you see him move, early on, I'd say for the first half of this arc, he's always walking backwards. He never walks forward at all. I don't know why. Heck, coming out of his own quarters on his ship. By the way, he's the captain of the Black Cat Pirates. Yes, the Black Cat Pirates. And by the way, what's in the front of their ship? A black cat. Why are they called the Black Cats? I have no idea. Usually associated with the captain himself, why they're called the particular type of pirates they are. But why they called the Black Cats? Well, there is no official reason given why in this series, but my theory is because Kerr, when he was the captain, he used these long knives on his fingers. Think he was Freddy Krueger. Yeah, by the way, he doesn't use those until like halfway through the arc itself. And it's slowly revealed he really wants to kill Kaya for her fortune. Yep. And she suspected that possibly he had something. I think it was Mary who suspected. Now, Mary shows up partway into the arc just because that he had ordered a pair of glasses for, well, Kiro. Though that's his real name. He has an alias. Because he keeps doing this with his glasses, taking the hem of his hand to push up his glasses. Yeah, there's actually a reason for that. Because when you wear his gloves, he does not want to scratch his glasses that he's wearing. So he uses the hem, basically the heel of his hand, the heel of his palm, to push up his glasses. Which I'm like, okay, so he's keeping up basically his usual habit. And despite the fact he's grateful for the pair, he destroys them. Despite the fact Kaya made them for him. And then he proceeds to slice up Mary. He basically stabs him. Yeah, Mary is a guy who looks like a sheep. Yeah, and here's the thing. Luffy never mentions to him, hey, you look like a sheep. Or like you look weird. It's never mentioned in the series of why he looks this way. He just does. And of course, before he gets stabbed, Usopp and Luffy, of course, Usopp's upset basically because of Usopp punching the butler. Kaya doesn't usually like it very much, but she doesn't hate Usopp for it because basically Usopp was being insulted by him. I mean, insult him, fine, but don't insult his father. Now, Kaya herself didn't like the fact that her butler did that, but yeah. Oh yeah, she spends the first portion of this arc in bed. Because she's claimed she's sick, but actually she's depressed over losing her parents. At the same time. Yeah, that's the reason for it. She's like this most of the arc, basically hanging out in bed, occasionally coming out just to hear Usopp's lies. Though eventually toward the end of the arc, she finally gets out of her room. Yeah, she's actually in her room for pretty much the entire, almost most of the story, with the exception of the last handful of episodes. So Usopp and Luffy overhear Django and Kuro talking about basically their plan. Luffy, of course, has no idea what the heck is going on. Being an idiot, calls him out. Django hypnotizes him to go to sleep. And Django and Kuro thinks that he's dead. And of course, Usopp thinks he's dead as well until they figure, oh yeah, he's actually a rubber man. And they think that this particular area they would come, but nope, different shoreline. Basically, it's the South Shore, basically North Shore. So they get there, and of course they set a trap for the pirates with an oil slick. Yes, a freaking oil slick. Okay, so after finally able to get there, Luffy and Zoro just knocks a good chunk of these pirates really easily because they're that freaking strong. And this basically goes on for a bit. And then Django summons out, like, okay, he tries to hypnotize Luffy. He hypnotizes Kuro to get stronger. Apparently hypnotizes Luffy as well. So Luffy, after knocking through all the Black Cat pirates, walks up to their ship and rips off the freaking bow of the ship. Basically the front of the ship with the Black Cat. Yeah, he rips it off. And then, like, he gets so strong because Django's like, okay, gotta put him to sleep. So he gets put to sleep. And he's like this for like a whole episode. And then Nami, of course, basically, well, then we also have the Mao brothers show up. One of whom I think is voiced by Todd Heppercorn. Yeah. Their job, kill Zoro. Though they also take away one of his swords as well. Nami tries to get the swords, but Django basically slices at her freaking shoulder. And everyone is like this for pretty much the rest of the arc. And then it's like, okay, and of course, then she decides finally, after Django's distracted, gives Zoro back his swords, and she needs to walk over to where Luffy is and step on his face. Though, indirectly step on his eye. Then Luffy grabs her by the leg and tosses her on the ground. And she's like, what did you do that for? Yep. As far as I can tell, this is the only time he's ever knocked Nami to the ground like this. Yeah, he's never actually done this for us the series. I mean, he doesn't hit Nami, he just basically knocks her down. He's never actually hit Nami over the course of the whole series. Oh, and the whole thing of him hitting another character in the head, well, he does that maybe a couple more times over the course of the series. He never does it to any of his crew. The other crew he does fight with is Usopp, but in the case of hitting him in the head, no, not really. He doesn't really do any of his crew members. He's never hit Robin, per se. He's never hit Nami. Probably because he has no desire to. But yeah, usually he fights people who are not members of his crew. That's how he works. And then he, of course, he faces off against Katakuri. Things get bored, like thinking, what the heck is taking Django so long? And then he shows up, and then he proceeds to sort of slice at Zoro. And then he does the out of the bag. He used to slice up his own crew and slice up Luffy, like slices up his face, his arms, his chest, his legs. Some of his hair gets cut off. Oh, and by the way, by the very next episode, he's perfectly fine. Yeah, these scars do not stay. Unlike another scar that he gets later on in the series, that stays. The only scars that do stay is a scar under his eye and the scar in his belly. Yeah, that's it. All the rest of the scars he gets, they heal up within just a few days. And after basically battling him for about 2 episodes, he's actually beaten by Luffy, and tells him if you want a reputation, don't be a pirate. And I should also point out though, when Luffy calls out Usopp, if you're gonna use that, if you can point it at me, you better use it. Yeah, he said, and he basically like, huh, wise words. He's like, nah, those are not my words. I stole it from Shanks. Yep, he's quoting Shanks. Shanks had a lot of big influence on him. So, in the case of this, it goes to don't be a pirate. And after he beats him, and he basically picks him up, of course, he also takes him to basically break one of his claws, and throws him over back to his pirates, and tells him to leave. How in the world he gets back on his Black Cat is never explained. And he rides off, and Django himself is basically now Kaya leaves her mansion to find out what's going on with Mary. It leaves the mansion, of course. Usopp pirates follow them. Yeah, the Usopp pirates. They're basically three little kids who were like 9 years old. They follow Usopp, participating in his little lying scheme, and well, they end up basically protect Kaya, and well, Django himself is easily defeated by Zoro. Yeah, basically Zoro just knocks him out. After all the Black Hat pirates defeated, of course they basically leave, and Usopp tells Usopp pirates and Kaya, let's just keep this a secret. And well, they do, and everyone gets bandaged up, and of course Luffy wants to meet, because well, Nami's like typical, and then, like, I think within the next, like, couple days after healing up, because Luffy looks perfectly fine, of course, so does Zoro. Then they get the Going Merry, their ship. Yep, they get their ship, and then they sail off, and then they start at the very next, of course, Usopp packs things in his house. Yeah, he lives by himself. Like, if this was the United States, they wouldn't allow someone who's considered according to U.S. law, a 17-year-old to live by himself. You have to be like 18-year-old by yourself. Though apparently he's lived by himself since he was 12. And he apparently formed the Usopp Pirates 5 years prior to the events of the series. So, and of course they mentioned the three kids who hang out with him, they apparently were 4 years old when they decided to become part of the Usopp Pirates. And of course he packs up his house, but apparently he can't exactly fit his whole backpack outside of his house, so he apparently keeps his bed there. He takes everything else and he just rolls down a hill. And Kaya, who's out of bed, thanks Luffy for basically saving her life. So as appreciation, gives him a ship, the Going Merry, and of course, and after explaining where like certain areas of the ship are, Merry decides to explain the technical aspect of the ship, and I'm just like, don't bother telling him, just tell me. I'll take care of it, because she's a navigator. Though we'll get to what goes on with her in Bastille and Arlon Park. And of course, then they sail off, and well, Usa comes along and thinks that well he might take one of their ships, but nope, he just basically comes along, leaves his giant bag behind. Unknown why he does that for, but he does. He never goes back for. He just basically jumps on board. He goes, "Oh yeah, we're friends. Just hop on board." And he becomes part of the crew. And so they got the ship, they got a new crew member, so gotta come with Jolly Roger. Louis paints one and it looks pretty bad. And then Usopp basically paints one and it looks like him, so because he really wants to be captain. So he paints the actual Jolly Roger that the Straw Hat Pirates would pretty much use for the rest of the series. They use it up until very currently. Like they've never replaced it. Basically just skull and crossbones, with the skull smiling and having a straw hat. That's simply put what the Jolly Roger is. And after painting it and everyone agreed on it, Luffy tells Usopp, paint this on our sail. And he's like, sure. And they replace the two flags that the ship came with their Jolly Roger. And they sail off and they go to this island of animals. Which, by the way, in the manga, this came first. In the anime, this came afterwards. Why the world they try to change this for? Well, they probably want to include the Going Merry here, so they want to have two ships to basically come to this island. So, they're here looking for treasure. It's actually the first island they go to after Usopp joins. And they're here for like one episode. They just walk around, they hear stories about the place, meet Gachu, the weird guy, and try to think of his treasure. Now, in the manga, Nami tells Luffy to use his arm stretched up the top. In the anime, he just does it by himself without being told. And he's like, toss it on my treasure chest. And he's like, I'm not going to. I don't want to. Like, why? And then the guy says, they're empty, aren't they? He says, yep, they're empty. You're like, huh, kind of suspected that. Yeah, and here's the thing. The explanation for why these treasure chests are empty, that's actually not revealed until the current arc of the manga. Yeah, Goldie Roger put those there. Yeah, that's kind of a strange thing. Like, This came out roughly in 2000, this arc, and it takes until 2020, takes 20 years later to explain this. Yeah, and this island is known as the Laughing Island. Yep, and no, this is not where the One Piece is. This is just an island that Goldie Rogers happened to visit. Luffy himself doesn't know that. I know that because I read the manga. Yep, and then of course the guy decides to stay after he has to join the crew. Of course, they also have the map of the Grand Line, which they got in the previous arc of the series, the Orange Town. And well, they sail off, and the guy himself does pop up one arc of the series, though after that he pops up occasionally over the course of the series. But what about the rest of the characters in this arc? Kai herself mostly appear in quick cameos, usually just to, like, figure out what she's up to, like just reading Usopp's exploits, her and the Usopp pirates like Mary. Kara and the Black Cat Pirates make one appearance after this, just to read some exploits on paper. Oh yeah, and Kiro's back in his uniform. And it's back to basically business as usual because he couldn't get what he wanted. Yep. But that's it for him. It makes for him one appearance. In the case of Kai and everybody else, recurring characters, they occasionally pop up. I think their most recent appearance I can think of was, during Dressrosa or Punk Hazard. It was one of those ones, basically. I think it was after Dressrosa when Usopp got his new bounty. I think that was the last official time that she showed up in the series, but I wouldn't mind seeing her again. Yep. But that's all I gotta say about the Syrup Village arc, which adapts chapters 22 to 41. Yeah, roughly a 20 chapter arc that was collected in about 2.5 books. Yeah, it was kind of lengthy when I originally read this. Yeah, but next arc is a bit longer, though in the anime it's only 12 episodes. For the next part of the review, I'll be discussing the Bastille arc, which is the debut of Blackleg Sanji. Yep. I will discuss that in part 3. My next video I'm going to do is going to review a new chapter of Black Clover. Yep. After that, I think I might have time to do my review for the first episode for Raising a Short Hero. Okay? See you next video. Bye.